right, welcome back to Doobs Does YouTube. We got a really good game here playing against Wombat, Combat Wombat, who is an age-old nemesis of mine who I haven't played in a while because he's been globetrotting and he has a YouTube channel himself. And so I'm excited to show this game. He is playing base Imperials. I am playing ROTE Rebels. And we are doing base setup, as you can see. And sort of the theme of this game, or what stood out to me, is what to do as rebels when the missions aren't helping you out, when you're not getting the missions that you want, when you're not getting the leaders to dictate what to do and how to play, and when your missions especially aren't lining up with your objectives. How do you win? How do you keep your head in the game? How do you stall as long as possible? And so that's one kind of theme that I'm going to be coming back to. You know, sometimes for the rebels, you get plan the assault turn two. Death Star plans are the first level two, and you get one in a million with Luke Skywalker, and it's just a really easy. You know, the game is showing you what to do. You get an Insight Rebellion turn four, and you get Liberation, and then they move toward the base and everything is on Geo, and you recruit Lando Independent Operations, and it's just the game just sort of plays itself. That's when rebels are really at their most powerful, and when you, the game is sort of telling you what to do. So right off the bat, I'm doing the standard three troopers in Utapau. It's a good deployment by Wombat. Nowhere really for me to try and take advantage. And Wombat is he's a strong player. He's always going to be looking to block my Utapau alliance turn one, and so just better off saving that by putting some troopers there. And my starting action cards are False Order and Recon. Now, Recon's not exactly what you want to see, but what I'm always hoping, especially with the rote deck, is that I'm going to draw into raid outposts, because Recon, start the evacuation, just gives you an easy point there. I'm thinking about the base, and I go with Hoth. And one reason is I've noticed he's just super weak on the right side of the board. And because I have false orders, I'm probably going to just tell myself, you know what? I think the last game I played Wombat, the day before this, he had fear will keep them in line turn one. And then so I'm thinking to myself, I'm just not going to risk it. Whatever mission he does, I'm going to false order it. And that means that a leader back in my hand is sort of pointless. And so I can run all four starting missions. And I'll just plan on sending back whatever mission he does. You know, sometimes Wombat won't do a starting mission, but I think here, even if he doesn't get a good non-starting mission, I think he'll run something because he really only has to cover Moncal. He could optionally cover Kashyyyk if he wants, and he could then move to Ord to get an assault carrier, and that leaves him open for one mission. So whether it's a capture, Wombat's pretty aware too that with the Rote Rebel deck, captures are a little bit more effective because there's one fewer rescue in the Rote Rebel deck. And the rescue that we do have, two of them are 3 blue icons, and so it's a little bit tougher. And that's sort of the position I'm in. My non-starting missions are 3 blue rescues and 3 fist Wookiee Uprising, and so maybe I'll get lucky next turn and recruit Chewie, and he'll move to Kashyyyk, and that'll buy me a lot of tempo. Looks like he's going for one mission. Vader here, easy choice. here to false order Vader. I don't think that would ever be a rule by fear. It's going to be a capture, a planetary, collect bounty, trade negotiations, something like that, because there's nowhere good for him to rule by fear here. I'm opening up with a sabotage. I'm expecting him to block this, but I'm also hoping that because I'm running 4 missions, he's suspicious of contingency plan. Contingency plan would be Recon, allow me to get another sabotage or another build alliance. And he might just be worried about contingency and giving me the last action to reveal it. And so he might just let me sabotage here. Either way, I'm happy to have him block it because again, there's nowhere else I'd rather be saboing. If I sabo Toydaria, he can move to Ord. If I sabo Ord, he can move to Toydaria. He's pretty much guaranteed an assault carrier turn 1. So I'm going to look at these cards. Rebel Assault. Rebel Assault is pretty good, especially compared to support of the Hutts. Now, support of the Hutts here, I don't start with Bothawi. And so as soon as I start building loyalty in the Hutt region, I think Wombat's going to sniff that out. So I'm not too excited about trying to score that. And he makes the comment about Wookiees and Kashyyyk, and I have Wookiee Uprising in my hand. It's just a matter of can I get the right leader to play this mission? And now he's in the position where Rican could be on contingency, and instead of passing, he takes Ord, and it's just the rapid. Unfortunately, no such luck. We'll see our probes here. Felucia, Dathomir, Yavin, Kashyyyk. Dathomir and Yavin pretty good. Um, I I don't expect he would be too worried about those systems because he has a Death Star right outside. It would be a pretty gutsy play. But the good thing about any remotes is you just want the Imperial player to move to the remotes. It's usually going to isolate their fleets. Here we get a heist and an assault. And no such luck. Now, I think here I have heist and I have Wookiee Uprising. I could get Jin and try to go for Riken and Jin on Wookiee Uprising with the 3 icons, but it doesn't really feel good to spend 2 actions in a mission just for him to block it with Vader. Of course, what it would mean is that I could possibly get Bothawi for a build, but I don't really want to go for Bothawi. First of all, I put support of the Hutts on the bottom, but also I'm trying to score this regional support. And I feel like I'm going to have a chance to score regional here next turn because he's not going to be able to get units toward where I want to score it, which is Geo and Rhodia. And the reason why I want to go for Geo and Rhodia is a couple of reasons. Like I said, he doesn't have any units there, so he can't do a rule by fear like he could if I went for Mon Cal and Felucia, or Seleucami and Felucia. But also, I want him moving away from my base, which is in Hoth. And so the more pressure I put on Geo and Rhodia in that area, the more units I'm going to attract. Now, he has an assault carrier on Q, and so my thought is I could open up with a sabotage on Naboo. And what that means is when he moves from Solus to Naboo to cover Utapau, he's going to have to bring the assault carrier as well to cover potentially Geo. So that is a thought in my mind, is maybe just open up with a Sabo on Naboo. But I'm also worried about Fett. And Fett is, after the game, Wombat was not happy that he had to choose between Fett and Janice for this recruit, but Fett causes a lot of problems. His action cards are hard to play around, whereas Fett and Boba Fett wear and Blindside, because you don't really know what to do. If he captures somebody, should I even try for a rescue, or is he gonna play Boba Fett wear? And you could have Chewie in your hand with Wookiee Guardian, and he could blindside it, and so. I don't mind Fett. Ideally, you'd want Ozzel or Soontir or something like that, maybe Yularen. But Fett, Fett has been giving me a lot of trouble lately. So I'm pretty worried about the capture, especially since I suspect Vader was on a capture turn one that I false ordered. And usually that means that Wombat has some good torture cards, Carbon Freeze, Lure, something where he would want to go for a capture turn one. So here I'm going to play it safe. And because I'm worried about Boba Fett wear, I'm going to open up with a Sabo. Arikan is my most expendable leader. And I'm going to do it on Ord because when the Sabo goes through, I don't think Wombat doesn't like leaving Imperial systems sabotaged. So I'm suspecting that he is going to move these units off of Ord and just leave a TIE fighter behind. And when he does that, Ord will no longer be an Imperial system, and I won't have to worry about Boba Fett wear if Riken gets captured, because you can only do it in an Imperial system. So that's my thought process going for Ord, along with Ord just being a good place to sabotage to prevent the assault carrier. So it looks to me like this is what he's thinking is, okay, let me move this assault carrier to Megiddo or to Ilum and get rid of these ground units and then go for the capture. And he decides not to. He goes right for the capture, and I'm a little bit worried about Lure here because again, I'm thinking that he has at least Carbon or Lure, one of those. I think if he was on Lure, he probably would have blocked the Sabo with Vader to make sure that everything went through. And Leia comes out, and now, just in case he has display of power, I'm gonna oh, threaten the core in defensive position. Now, threaten the core is probably never going to happen, but it's a little bit more likely than defensive position. And so I'm not too happy with that. Here's his move to Toydaria. And then I'm expecting a move to Naboo. And then one mystery move. Now, the fact that he didn't free up Ord before going for the capture, and here's a trade negotiations to Cato, that hurts a bit because I'm really hoping that Force in Solist is going to have to cover Cato at some point. But I am happy that he put the Emperor on it because now Mothma is free to build alliance. And here I'm choosing between Rhodia and Geo. I go with Geo because um, I assume next turn I'm going for Rhodia. And if I go for Rhodia next turn, I don't want if I go for Rhodia this turn, I know he's still probably going to move to Geo next turn, and then that could make it harder for me to score the build alliance there. Makes Mothma susceptible to being captured next turn, etc., etc. So I'll just go for Geo now, fully expecting him to cover it. And then he does a move here to Mustafar. I don't like this move for me because I'm in Hoth. And also, I was kind of expecting him to move to Bespin first because uh, he likes to cover Endor very quickly. And that's part of the thought with the Hoth base is Move to Bespin turn 2, move to Bespin maybe move to Endor maybe turn 3 or 4. And then he's kind of, if I sabotage Bespin, he's kind of in a position where he can't get units easily toward Hoth. I see Dantooine, I see Alderaan. It's pretty good. I've seen Dantooine, Dathomir, and Yavin. I'm happy about those, but I'm not happy that he's not moving to explore those. He's only moving toward the base. Because I didn't take Jin, I think I need to take um, Cassian here. Um, I want to go for support of the Mon-Cal this turn. That's probably the only other mission that's worth my time. And he's now seeming to me appeared to try and capture twice. And so I'd really like Cassian to be able to run this rescue. And if I start stuffing units in the base, Cassian is good to block. If I get secret mission, Cassian's good. I don't see any advantage right now to getting Han with recruiting Chewie. It's going to put me at 8 liters right when I have to kill somebody anyway, and so maybe if I was running base deck and I could get demolition or something like that, but no dice. And I decide to deploy nothing in the base. I don't want to have to block a gather intel, especially not a gather intel on Geo right before he moves there with a potential capture. Uh, Wombat is doing the right move. He's throwing these assault tanks down on these on like Saleucami. He was going to do it on Kashyyyk, but it looks like he wants to cover Solus, and that's for him to play around assault. Um, Unfortunately for me, assault is just a pretty much worthless card. Um, and you notice here, so far it's turn 3, and this will be the first turn where I'm playing a non-starting mission. And that's okay. I have a lot of information about the probe deck. I'm setting myself up to score regional. It's it's not terrible, but I will say with an assault carrier outside of Hoth, I'm uh, I'm not really sure where my points are going to come from. I'm hoping to get one for regional, but as of right now, there's not even a Star Destroyer near my base. I have no behind enemy lines or plan the assault. And even if I did, I don't really want to empty out my Space Force from the base to kill a Star Destroyer in Toydaria or Coruscant, because then he just deploys something near my base and I have nothing left to defend. So I'm not, the dream with Rebel Assault and a Hoth base is on this turn, I get Akbar and behind enemy lines, and I can just do an assault on Naboo and get Utapau again, get Geo, and put the Empire in a really bad spot. But that has not happened. Here, I'm not really sure how to best do this. I don't want to get Lando captured. That's why I've been putting him on rapid. But I also want both of my loyalty missions to go off. Support of the Mon Cal. And now I'm going to put Leia on support of the Mon Cal because there's Imperial troops there. And she's better at protecting against a capture. And so now what I'm thinking is, if he wants to play draw them out into capture, fine. I'll take the risk. But with Lando in hand, I can better defend against a capture. I'm not too worried about gather intel because I've been keeping my units under 12. And with Lando here, I can stall out to either get loyalty in Rhodia or ensure that I get support of the Mon Cal. And by putting Dodonna on infiltrate instead of Cassian, I can do that in Mon Cal to stack my yellow icons there. And so that's the plan. Infiltrate in Mon Cal in order to set up for support of the Mon Cal, and then use Lando and Rhodia to stall out to score regional support. Now, that could all change if Tarkin or the Emperor is on a mission, because then I have to play around them running propaganda or something. But fortunately, it looks like he's just running one mission, and that will be Fett, and that will be a capture, I'm assuming. So now that I've seen Fett on a mission, I'm just taking a little bit of time to think about how do I play around capture the best. And I decide the best way to do that is what I did turn one, and that is to open up with a sabotage in a place that I know he doesn't want me to sabotage, and that's Corellia. And because he doesn't have Tarkin or Tag on a mission, I know he has to block this. Now I'm thinking he's going to get a capture off this turn if he really wants to. And I would much rather him capture Riken than anybody else. I don't want to open with an infiltrate on Moncal and have him capture in Moncal because then I lose my yellow advantage. And if he really wants to stop this Sabo, he will have to send Vader, and then I will have the action advantage to make sure that I get off support of the Moncal and regional support. Um, and I'm okay with this. This is this is the price that Riken is paying for signing up for the rebellion. I'm not going to send Lando to block because, again, I want to keep my leader advantage and make sure that Mothma can get a successful build alliance off. So, fortunately, it wouldn't have mattered anyway because he rolled, I don't know, a 5 or something. But here comes the attack on Utapau, and then the Star Destroyer will be moving to Geo. I'm guessing he will be covering after that Bespin and Bothawi because he sees that I will get the final action. And those are the places he really doesn't want me to build units. Take out an ATST, it's a Pyrrhic victory. Doesn't really afford me much. Um, and I'm still in a position where I just don't. I mean, the good news is he's not running projects. This is sort of my saving grace. He has one Star Destroyer that he's going to put out, and depending on where that goes, if that goes in Megiddo, that would be great. I know he doesn't have Dathomir, Yavin, or Dantooine. And here we have another problem. Leave no one behind and Heart of the Empire. Neither of these I feel like I'm going to score. Neither of these do I feel like I'm going to score. Um, he has a Star Destroyer sitting on Coruscant, and he has two unplayed starting action cards. I'm guessing one of those is Destiny. It's looking like he doesn't have Blindside. It's looking like this is Boba Fett wear, just the way he's been using Boba Fett. And so I feel like if anything, he'll move. Maybe he'll make a mistake. Maybe I'll rescue Riken and I'll be able to start the evacuation in Coruscant. I don't know. I'm praying for him to slip up, but I just feel like Hart has a little bit more upside. Now here, I've stalled out with Lando as per my plan, and he has the option. Does he want to roll 4 versus 3 to stop an objective? Um, I don't. He's probably not worried about whatever Leia's on. I mean, maybe he thinks it's subversion. The only other thing Leia could really be on is safe haven or support of the Mon Cal. Um, it could be a subversion. He probably just doesn't know what Leia's on. Um, maybe he's thinking support of the Mon Cal, and that might be his best bet. Really, is to pass with Emperor to block support of the Mon Cal. He has the best odds, and that is at this point probably a little bit better than giving me an objective point. Um, because as I was saying earlier when I infiltrated, my only silver lining is that I he hasn't done any project cards and he's only building one Star Destroyer at a time. And okay, Ilum Ryloth. All right, so I've seen one or two good probes every rapid. I've now seen every probe on the left side of the board, Ilum, Dantooine, Dathomir, and Yavin. And my hope is that that means that's where the Star Destroyer is going to go. Makes sense. So we'll see what happens. Down a leader, and I get it behind enemy lines, which at this point feels not good. I can't use behind enemy lines in Coruscant ever. And I get Wedge here. Wedge is good, 1 in a million. And now I'm thinking, okay, maybe I can get to the Death Star. Use this behind enemy lines, blow up the Death Star. That's going to be sort of the plan. If I could get Rogue Squadron raid, I could blow up his next Star Destroyer, and then I would really have a shot at space supremacy. He is now Yularen and Soontir. I'm uh, I'm not too I'm not too focused on Lando. You know, Lando is a powerful action card, independent operations. Now, at this point, I'm more thinking about Lando this way. First, as a threat, there's the threat of Lando, but then also thinking of Lando in terms of if I have to move bases. If I have to move, say, to Kessel, and I can use Lando on a ground force in Seleucami, something like that. I don't see Lando being very beneficial with my Hoth base because he sort of has the base surrounded. And so, if anything, it might buy me a turn, but that is why I feel like the threat of Lando here is a bit more powerful. In order to do that, I need to make sure that Lando doesn't get, in order to keep that threat alive, I need to make sure that Lando doesn't get captured. But that is my primary thought right now with Lando is Lando's not going to win me this game unless it comes on a base move. But he's not going to win me the game if I'm in Hoth, and so I'm uh, I'm just trying to keep the threat alive. And here, you know, I do suspect that he has Boba Fett wear. It's a matter of is he going to play it, and if he doesn't play it, I'm going to be kicking myself for not running a rescue. And so I just got to run the rescue and take the risk. Right now, I need all the leaders I can get because none of my leaders are really lined up with any of my missions or objectives. And so I just need every bit of help that I can get. And here is the bad news. The Star Destroyer goes down in Sullust. and two shield bunkers on Mandalore. I mean, it's the right move for Wombat in the sense that he is weakest. I'm hoping that because he dropped the Star Destroyer and Solus, that means he doesn't have Endor. I don't know if he would drop that there if he had Endor, because he can check Dagobah and Hoth this turn, and then start dropping. If I'm in Hoth or Dagobah, he has stuff in Geo, he has stuff on the queue he can drop near there. So I'm a little bit surprised he didn't drop it maybe on Mandalore with one of the shield bunkers, but it's just ends up being the perfect move for him. And now, again, I have nothing to do. My hope is still that I'm going to get raid outposts, so I want to save the heist. Um, I know now that the Death Star is going to be really hard to go for with two shield bunkers, with no Maydeen. If I did blow up one of the shield bunkers, all he has to do is move to Megiddo, and then I can't behind enemy lines. So even the Death, and I might not even get the Death Star next plans next turn. It might take me two more turns. So I am, I'm just thinking again. I'll run Sabotage, Infiltrate, and Alliance, and I'll run the Rescue, and I'll keep Wedge back in case there's a Retrieve the Plans or a Carbon. And I'm even at this point willing to use 1 in a million to stop the Carbon. And here's the moment of truth. Does he have Boba Fett wear? Again, I'm pretty sure he has it. Just the way he's been playing, I'm 1,000% sure he has it. It's just a matter of will he use it? Um, he might feel like I can block a rescue with Yularen, and if I open with a rescue, and so he might not feel like it's necessary to do Boba Fett wear. It just sort of depends on which torture cards he has. If he has Intero Droid, probably want to drop it. If he has Carbon, probably want to drop it. Um, there it is. There it is. So Cassian is wasted. And now we got to see which leaders he uses. This is going to be really, really important and really going to change how I play this turn. If he, if Vader and Soontir are back, or say he just puts Vader on a mission and Soontir and Tag are back, I will probably open up with putting Wedge in Corellia. But he doesn't, unfortunately. Vader and Soontir. Now, there's no hunt them down. That would be being played now. And so what this looks like to me is that Vader is on Carbon and Soontir is on Capture. So what he can do is run Carbon, and if I block with Wedge, he's going to capture with Soontir because he'll have Vader, Fett, and then Soontir to roll versus Wedge. And so if it's Carbon, I can't even block it. I'm not even going to try to block it. I'm thinking here, I'm coming up with this idea of, okay, when he runs Retrieve the Plans, when he runs Carbon, don't block it with Wedge. So what am I going to do? And I really need to play around captures right now because I don't want to lose my leaders. And in fact, I'm sort of hatching a plan where I go, maybe I can kill one of his good leaders. If I'm so sure that Vader is on Carbon and Soontir is on Capture, maybe I could bait out a capture from Soontir in a place where I can kill the leader, like Mustafar. So that is what I do. I infiltrated Mustafar and tell myself, or I'm trying to tell to Wombat, hey, go ahead and carbon freeze Riken, and then why don't you come over here to Mustafar? And if I have any actions left, I'm going to attack out of the base and kill, hopefully Soontir, because Scouting Mission is a really good action card, and I would love to take him out. Death Star plans, which again, as I said, are probably going to be worthless, but up against Time for Peace, I got to take. And there's the carbon. And true to form, I just can't block this and put Wedge at risk. It's painful, but necessary. And I'm glad I didn't because he rolled a freaking 8. So even Wedge with 1 in a million would not even come close to blocking that. So now we're back. We're back to starting uh, rep, and I have one scoreable objective in the future. I could still get Raid Outpost as my last level 2, but man, other than Rebel Assault, which at this point I don't even know where or how. I'm kind of expecting once he stumbles into Hoth, I'm going to end up being able to kill that Star Destroyer that comes in from Solist. But man, other than that, I just don't know. I don't think I'm ever going to get hard off. He has so many fists between Fett and Vader and Soontir. I don't think I'd ever be able to get off a lead the strike team. And if I did, I don't have turret, so I can't blow up any TIE fighters that are in the system. Maybe I could get plan the assault and do a plan the assault there into plant explosives. But here, I'm assuming Soontir's on capture. I just don't want to put Mothma at risk. Maybe I could have done the build alliance in Mustafar. That feels a little suspicious. I kind of would rather him move the Star Destroyer from Bothawi back toward Kessel, maybe move the Death Star toward Kessel to give me a chance to score Death Star plans, get it off of those shield bunkers, something like that. I feel like the loyalty in Mustafar is a bit suspicious. So we're going to bluff at the Hut region a little bit. Um, I don't know. I haven't seen any probes for Nelhutta or for Kessel, so of the 12 I've looked at, I think, so chances are he probably has those, but I'm a little bit desperate, a little bit out of sorts. He's going to check Ryloth, um, figure out very quickly that I'm not there. I'll just waste a combat card here. I guess if Palpatine is on lure, if Soontir is on capture and Palpatine is on lure, it makes sense that he wouldn't go for a capture immediately. He might be trying to get Wedge or Lando, even Leia. All of those are better lure targets than Riken. So I'm not too worried now about the capture because I have Wedge back to block that. I'm going to Lando here on Toydaria. I feel like I don't want to sabotage Mustafar because again the hope is just Soontir capture on Mustafar and then I can attack out and have it free for next turn to build loyalty and to bolster up the base. So I don't want to sabotage there. And I also don't want to draw too much attention there. We'll see if he commits first with a move. Um, I know that he wants Lando. I know that he hates land independent operations, and so he might even just waste tag to try to get a better chance at capturing Lando. Let's see what Tarkin's doing. This might be his first R&D that he might run now that I've showed Sabo. The unfortunate part of wasting Cassian is now, oh, and it's Tarkin's mission. So any hope I had of uprising or popular support, this is really gonna. Now he's giving me a chance to block it. That's appreciated. Um, uh, said, what's it like to get good missions? Um, After seeing the carbon and the fear will keep them in line. My philosophy on this is Leia is she doesn't have great odds to block Tarkin on it, but if you're going to give me the chance, the upside, the reward is so great in being able to block this. He rolls a 4, so not gonna happen. But I he's already shown me 4 non-starting missions, so I don't think Palpatine is on anything other than rule by fear, probably. And so if I get a chance to block such a powerful mission with those odds, it's just worth the risk to me. And, Leia has surprised me. I've been able to block a fair amount of solo Tarkin on his mission by himself. And you also kind of want to show the Imperial player, like, hey, I can block this. I'm going to block this. You need to start, stacking leaders to get off these important missions. Just kind of playing a bit aggressively. And yeah, he might just go to waste tag here, moving back to a system he's already been on in order to get the fists for the capture. But he decides to play it smart. He decides to play it conservatively, I should say. Um, he already has a pretty, and now because of Cassian, I can't stall out long enough. I have to pass, see if I can get and then I roll the double fours. So that would have been really nice to roll with Leia. And then here's the lure. So unbeknownst to me, I would have been able to score No Man Left Behind or No One Left Behind. I would have been able to score it, but hard to predict that that's how the turn is going to come out. That he's going to have carbon and lure. And look at this rep. I'm at starting rep. I've have 3 dead objectives in hand. I just got rid of Yoda. Just discarded Yoda, so Luke is not really a great option. I mean, Luke you can consider because first of all, Son of Skywalker should let you get for the greater good. It's crazy that it can't. Um, it's already such a weak action card. Now lore is gone. I'm not worried about lore. Um, I actually think that I forgot here that I discarded Yoda. I think I have it in my hand. And that's why I'm thinking so long. Akbar is just the no-brainer pick. And the only other reason is if he captures Wedge, then I have Luke who can still play 1 in a million. But with behind enemy lines and Akbar, it's just a brutal combination, especially when you have Rebel Assault. So Riken's action card is dead. I have three really good action cards, one in a million, independent operations, and it's a trap. But other than it's a trap, I don't know what I'm going to use them on, um, or where I'm going to use them. So again, just bluffing at Kessel. There's about five probes that I haven't seen and that he hasn't drawn. And so I'm still hoping that Endor is in the mix. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I'm going to keep rapiding. At this point, I make a bit of a, as I'm thinking, there comes this point, I've talked about this before, but with every Rebel game where you start thinking about theaters, ground and space. And I'm looking at the board and I'm thinking to myself, I have plant explosives. I have um, I have this rebel assault that I'm looking to score somewhere at least two systems away from the base. Maybe I just need to focus on ground. Now, unfortunately, hmm, unfortunately, he has Loyal Megiddo and Loyal Solist and an unblockaded Seleucami and Bespin. So I don't think it's a great idea for going for ground here, but I don't quite see it. I think I'm expecting the base to get revealed any second. My only saving grace is I know he doesn't have Yavin, Dathomir, Dantooine, or Ilum. And so I'm thinking I have one in a million, maybe Wedge, Plant Explosives, one in a million, with Lando, Independent Operations, is enough to stall out my ground indefinitely until I can get it to turn 10 or something and score, a few haphazard objectives. I think that's a misread on my part. This game happened last night. I remember my mindset, and I'm thinking, okay, we're going for ground, and I think that's a big error. Partly because of his loyalties and what he's able to build every turn, but also because it is so difficult for rebels to hold ground supremacy, especially when I haven't played base defenses. And not only that, but I haven't even drawn any recons to play multiple base defenses. So I think what I should be thinking here with this trade relations is go for Corellia, get another Mon Cal, and prevent him from getting another Star Destroyer. And if I have three Mon Cals, a Nebulon, and a Corvette, and he only has one Star Destroyer in the vicinity and one Star Destroyer on queue, then he's toast from a space perspective. And I also haven't been thinking about how he hasn't run any projects. So there's no interdictors, there's no superstar destroyers, there's no construct factories, and he's still in a position where he's just so vulnerable to a rogue squadron raid, to a sabotage in Corellia, to a trade relations in Corellia. All of those things can really, really mess him up. And so that is that is a big mistake right here in my thought process. And part of that is just being flustered. Ev- You know, I still don't know where my objective points are going to come from. Death Star seems impenetrable at the moment. Even if I start to sabotage there and to take out those shield bunkers, all it takes is him moving to Megiddo. All it takes is him moving to Dathomir. All it takes is him building two more shield bunkers this next build turn, three more. The sky's the limit. I just don't see it happening, and I don't see heart happening. Um, and obviously, threaten the core is just a dead objective at this point. Um, So he does Yularen, he does false rumors, and in one foul swoop, me seeing Dantooine and Ilum is pointless. So I know for sure that Star Destroyer, he's checking Yavin, and he's oh, that's another thing. He should have done this in Ord. Um, he should have done this in Ord, I think, because if I say, most likely if I'm there, I'm in Dantooine anyway. And so if I say yes, you want to be able to move to Dantooine. And if I say no, you want to be able to move Megiddo to Dathomir because you can check Yavin and Dathomir without putting the Death Star at risk. And so he probably should have done that in Ord. The and I'm permanently down a leader because of lore. And so even with him doing Yularen, I'm not getting the last action. So now that he knows it's not Ilum or Dantooine, and I'm looking at this Moncal on the queue, I'm thinking I have to get this Moncal in the base. And the only way I can get this Moncal in the base is if he doesn't reveal. So I just have to pray that Krennic is not on planetary and attack out here and blow up this assault carrier. Because I know he's moving to Yavin, and I know he's moving to Dathomir, and those are the only other places, those are the only other probes other than Alderaan that I've seen that are currently relevant. And so we're going to take out this assault carrier and hopefully ensure that I can put this Moncal in the base. Because once I have two Moncals in the base, now we're looking pretty good. Ooh, and he barely gets the Y wing. It would have been nice to keep that Y wing alive. Would have been nice. I think this is a good move. Now he knows. Again, I'm going to do another rapid here, and I'm praying he doesn't have Endor. That's the most relevant probe I need to see. But I'm happy with this move, even though I've told him essentially where my base is. I think it's vital to get this Moncal deployed, and I think other than that, I kind of botched this turn. So he starts the mass migration. Whew, boy, I mean, this is where Hidden Fleet, and all you Hidden Fleet haters, Hidden Fleet right here would just be so good in Coruscant. Man, that would be, oh my gosh, that would be so nice. Um, I'm not, I'm trying to wait out this Star Destroyer move because the plan is once he moves the Star Destroyer to Bespin or Mustafar, then I will behind enemy lines it. Um, Still not sure what to do. Just going to infiltrate. Oof, oof. No raid outposts. That's not good. And show no fear is fine. And this is where I start thinking, okay, I need multiple. I need to score so many points. Maybe I can get. Maybe I can just with Lando make his ground a misery, his ground forces into just a sorry state, and hold out long enough where Show No Fear gets me 2, 3 points, turn it into a heart score or a Death Star kill. The liberation just doesn't feel impactful enough, even though I could probably easily score it in Mustafar. I don't really want to be emptying out my ground, especially not if Finest here is on planetary. And so I think, okay, show no fear. I'll draw it this turn. I'll score it next turn. I don't have any other end of turn objectives that I'd rather be scoring. And I am desperate. So show no fear seems the way. And I think that's where it solidifies in my mind. Okay, let's go for ground and use Mothma to get another speeder here, really bolster up my ground. Now I have prepare for battle. And so with this behind enemy lines that Akbar's on, I'm looking to use all of my best cards. I'm going all out. I got It's a Trap. I have Moncal card, Nebulon card, really good cards that I'm planning to use in this upcoming battle, and then I'll get them all back with Prepare for Battle. Now he's starting to clear back. He's got 4 Star Destroyers all on their way toward Hoth, and I just wanna make life difficult on him. So I'm gonna try and sabotage Bespin here, and now it's his uh, third block with Sabo, and now I'm thinking, okay, that's probably a capture that Krennic is on, which is fine. He's already, I mean, other than retrieve the plans, he's already used his rough torture cards. The thought did go through my mind as I get. Hmm, wonder if he's thinking about doing this move with Riken to get more fists there. No, he does the move with the Emperor. Okay. Could be according to his design. Um, what this means now is I just really can't undercommit with Akbar. I really need to overcommit. And I'm even thinking, hey, he doesn't have a lot of ground there. Huh. I should have, I think I should have done the behind enemy lines then. I don't know why I didn't. Because with behind enemy lines now, I can use wedges 1 in a million in tandem with Akbar and really put a hurt on him and ensure that I win that battle handedly. So that was another mistake. I shouldn't have done Mothma there. I think part of my thought process is I don't think the game is going to go long enough for another. I don't think the game is going to go long enough for another Moncal to come out. So that might have been part of my process, but Wedge gets captured now, and I could have, I could have even if I didn't want to use 1 in a million, I could have done the attack and then retreated with Wedge to make sure that he didn't get captured. I don't know. It was no reason to stall out there. Maybe I was scared by the Emperor moving there, thinking about according to his design. I'm not sure why I delayed. And no more delaying, no more stalling. Here I get the brilliant idea of maybe I could totally wipe these forces. If I bring a speeder I can tow cables down the AT-AT, and then I roll a black and a red die. That's probably a little unnecessary. But again, I'm also thinking, hey, I have prepare for battle that I'm playing next turn. So why don't I use tow cables here? And then after I prepare for battle, I can use another tow cable since he's building two AT-ATs every build turn. So I flip here, block two red hits. He really kills that Y-Wing. And puts 3 damage on the Corvette for some reason. And let's see what Akbar can do. Not too bad, not too bad. Just need one more hit. I get two. Nice. So now what I should do is I should take out all of the TIE fighters because if I take out all of the TIE fighters, he can't use his TIE fighter card. I'm really trying to save my Corvette card because he has Soontir. And so I know that this force is going to get Soon-tiered next turn. And again, this is not necessary. Not necessary. I definitely want to blockade Bespin, so I'm definitely staying and just give him fewer places to deploy and consolidate and to isolate this ground here. And I roll no hits, and he rolls a lot of hits. Okay, thankfully doesn't heal the AT-AT. And now my thought is I have 3 red die. All I need to do is do a damage, and I don't think he's going to use. I think he's expecting me to cancel, and so I don't think he's going to use his TIE Fighter card, and he knows he has Soon-tier next turn. So I'm just going to do a damage, pray that he does Tractor Beam or Death Star. He does Tractor Beam, and just pray that I roll a heal. I have a lot of, and he rolls a crit. So now I need to roll 2 heals, and feels pretty bad. I get the 1, but it's a little, I don't know how unlucky that is, but it feels really bad because now I can't even stop the TIE fighter card when Soontir does scouting mission. And so I'm assuming that Nebulon is toast. I also can't defend the Nebulon from scouting mission because I won't be able to send a leader that fight because I'm guessing either the assault carrier or the Star Destroyer is going on Mustafar, and when that happens, I need to attack it with this Mon Cal from the base and the Mon Cal from Bespin. Hoping to see Endor, and no Endor. No Endor. In fact, not good probes at all. So I have already seen all the good probes, and those were basically mitigated by Yularen. So he knows where my base is. I know that he knows where my base is, and it's time to really get creative. In about 2 turns, I'm going to start getting dividends from Show No Fear. Um, I grabbed Nal Hutta here, and this is going to end up being pretty important because he has nothing close to Nal Hutta to cover it. And so being able to get an extra fighter is really beneficial. Got a speeder to replenish the one I just wasted. Although three speeders in the base, man, three speeders, and then next turn you get a base defenses. Oh, that is that is the dream. Gonna put this is I remember what I was thinking here. I'm just looking ahead to blockading Seleucami so that he stops getting um, blockade Bothui, blockade Seleucami, stop him from getting yellow circles, and also to prepare for scoring something like establish outposts, which could still be in the level threes. I'm down 2 leaders, and one of those is wedge. I still have my rescue, so that's good. Um, and I still am threatening independent operations. So we're going to continue to use Akbar to fight off any transports he puts near the base. Going to continue to try and keep it covered. And now that the Death Star is no longer relevant, now that the there's no raid outposts, I'm free to just use heist to draw an objective. Uh, don't I can't afford to infiltrate. Um, I think here is a good time to do prepare for battle. It'll help me catch up on actions, but I also have some good spots to do it. Malastare is a really good spot to do it because he can block it. I don't think he should block it um, because it's not a situation where I'm threatening anything really scary. But he needs his Star Destroyers coming toward Hoth, and as you see with Leia, because Wedge got captured, Leia has the Rogue Squadron raid queued up. And so here, I'm already realizing it was a mistake to get the extra speeder instead of preventing, instead of doing trade relations in Corellia. Now, if I did trade relations in Corellia on Space 2, I would have another Mon Cal, and he would have one less Star Destroyer on the queue. And this Rogue Squadron raid could then be used to take out assault carriers with impunity, although he's only building one. Assault carriers and 2 fighters, even. Or if he leaves, anything on the queue, a lot of fighters. A lot of fighters. But now that I've sort of woken up to the fact that going for ground was a bad idea and realizing that I wasted that speeder and really lost a lot of my ground supremacy. And now I'm looking at an AT-AT in Malastare, 2 ATSTs about to be built, and 2 AT-ATs on the queue. I'm realizing ground was just a total folly. Star Destroyer in Mustafar, I think that's good. I think it should go in Mustafar. Um, or hmm, so maybe what he's doing, yeah, if he's doing the Star Destroyer, if he's doing the assault carrier in Mustafar, I think he should do the Star Destroyer instead. And then he can do the assault carrier in, say, Corellia. Now, you don't want to give me an easy raid factory, and that's why you don't want to put the assault carrier in Solus. But also, I have a Moncal in base. And so that Moncal is very easily going to be able to take out that assault carrier by attacking out. And so you're essentially just wasting an assault carrier. And now I know that scouting mission is coming up, and so I'm not My plan is let him scouting mission Bespin, take out the Nebulon, and then I'll be able to use the two Moncals, to take out the assault carrier, and then move the blockade from Bespin to Mustafar. The blockade is better in Bespin anyway because I have loyalty there. So Lando is better, uh, is more likely going to be able to get off independent operations in Bespin compared to Mustafar. And here it comes. Part of my thought too with deploying these fighters in Nalhada and Kessel is I've been trying to draw out the scouting mission earlier. It's such a good action card. Where now I don't have the Corvette to cancel his card, so I'm just going to say no card next turn and stop him from doing another red damage with the Death Star card. And he goes for the Moncal. I don't think this is statistically a good play. He's like maybe 50% to get one crit. Or no, it's higher than that because he has two rerolls. But he gets two crits, three crits. So again, I think that's really risky. Really risky. I mean, he almost got nothing. I had a pretty good roll. Um, I don't think, I think there you always want to go for the Nebulon. Um, and I do a damage here, and he doesn't roll a heal. So yeah, so that was worst case scenario. Not only did he get the two crits or the crit last combat to kill my Corvette to even make this attack possible, but then he gets three crits on four black dice with Soontir to take out the Moncal. For all you people, all you Imperial players watching right now, don't try that at home. I think you always go for the Nebulon to be a sure bet. So now I take out this, and I leave. Do I leave one TIE fighter? I definitely should take at least one because I'm planning on using my transport card. And the transport card is going to block everything. So I'm not really at risk of losing the X-Wing. I do want to leave one behind because, again, um, Vader could be on, what's it called? Um, yeah, I got to bring this X-Wing. Vader could be on planetary. And if he is, whew, barely. If he is, I want to make sure that if the ground combat goes really poorly, that he doesn't just win the game outright. So the blockade has shifted. Now he's free to move this Star Destroyer to Bespin, but chances are, even if he has a detain or something, I'm going to be able to independent operation Bespin. He's examining my units, seeing seeing if it's maybe worth attacking into. It's kind of a tough spot. I mean, if it's two Moncals, forget about it. Two Moncals is so much better than the Moncal and the Nebulon. The two green dice and the minus one red health compared to the two red dice and the one black die is monumental. But because of the way he's been deploying, I've been able to, and he sends tag just to activate. So he sends tag, so that tells me that he has more dangerous. And I'm okay with that. I don't think he's I'm not too worried about that because he hasn't played like his overwhelming presence or anything like that. Um, I suspect here that he might be scared about prepare for battle. Now, I'm not too worried about it because I'm about to get my space cards back anyway. I just have one card left. So I do it in Malice there, kind of hoping he'll block. Because what I really don't want is I really don't want that Star Destroyer in Malistaire coming to Solist. I don't want him consolidating. Because if you've noticed, I've now picked off an Assault Carrier by itself, a Star Destroyer by itself, an Assault Carrier by itself. So I'm picking off his fleet piecemeal, and also because he's blocked Prepare for Battle now, it's much less likely he's going to be able to block Rogue Squadron Raid, and then I'll be able to take out this Star Destroyer. And for the next 2 turns, the only thing he's going to be able to deploy close to my base is an Assault Carrier. He attacks in, um, plays more dangerous, takes back the TIE Fighter. Yeah, I don't know if this was worth the extra action. And he does the TIE Fighter card, but we have the same number of fighters. So, yeah. Okay. So I think he was just thinking, oh, I'll get back the TIE Fighter card. But yeah, I had an X-Wing there. So that might have just been an oversight on his part. Sometimes, yeah, sometimes I make that. Make mistakes like that where you're like, oh, well, oh, and then Akbar gets a great roll here. Give me another crit. So I take out the Star Destroyer and the TIE Fighter for the cost of a Nebulon. Um, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. He could retreat, yeah. And then I try to help him out here. He has to retreat with a leader, and I know I'm running a rescue, so clearly he should be retreating here with Tag, who does not block the rescue. So I'll just help him out. Yeah, I think you want to do that with Tag, right? Leave the alarm behind. And Wombat's too smart for that. The nice thing here about critical rescue, and it's a very slight nice thing, is that if I fail, it goes back to my hand. I'm going to do a heist here, just see what I get. Uprising, not going to happen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 loyalty right now. And I'm guessing he's going to be doing some ruling by fear around here somewhere. Um, but now you're seeing because yeah, there's a propaganda. So Bespin very quickly going to become loyal. So, and this is what I mean. So my uprising hopes are still alive. All I have to do is draw regional support, um, or regional aid, and the mission that lets you get 2 loyalty. And because of Lando, because of the threat of Lando, he is really preoccupied with getting loyalty in Bespin, whereas he could have been doing it in Bothawui and taking away 2 loyalty and all of these units that I'm building every turn. And so um, I'm pretty happy that Lando here is just in his mind, living rent free. Again, my plan next turn is to use this Mustafar force and attack Bespin. And so Lando is not super important to my plans right now. My plans are much more about keeping the space blockaded and attacking his forces piecemeal. I'm just going to do rule by fear here because, or build alliance here because, again, I'm attacking Bespin next turn. And so I want my loyalty in Mustafar if I end up having to Lando in Mustafar. Just trying to keep it all close. And now, yeah, because he blocked, because he's been waiting so long to consolidate, uh, I have, he couldn't even block this even if he wanted to, because he has to get this Corellia Force to Solist. Take out the Star Destroyer, and I'm just going to keep picking him off piecemeal. What a nightmare. I mean, it's almost kind of like, what do you even do as the Empire? It's so annoying having this one Moncal just go back and forth between Mustafar to Bespin to Mustafar to Bespin. And yeah, maybe if he had been now he doesn't know. He doesn't know how bad my objectives are. If he had known how bad my objectives are, he probably would have realized, oh, I can be a little more patient. See if I can get lucky. No. So it goes back to my hand. He probably could have afforded to be a little bit more patient. And here's the first project, the first R&D of the game. He's just been blocking it with Vader. And so Show No Fear goes onto the board. In an earlier video, I made a mistake where I scored a point for it when I played it. That is not correct. You have to draw it, have it in your hand, play it as a start of refresh objective, and you don't start in lieu of playing any other objective, and then you don't start scoring until the next turn. Super delayed, super delayed. Very, very situational objective. And again, we're just going to start stacking up more space in the base. Got two Y-wings. Feel very confident that not only can I take out this assault carrier in Bespin, but I can set myself up to take out. And here's the other thing. Unless he has display of power, even if I get detained in Bespin, say Akbar takes out my whole space fleet to Bespin, I can, even if I get detained, I can Lando in Mustafar because I set myself up here. So I am feeling pretty good that I can at least stall out another turn. Now, whether or not I can stall out till turn 11 or however long it's going to take is another story. I'm really hoping for level 3 wise. I know there's a Death Star plans left, but I'm really hoping for Return of the Jedi, Raid Factory, or Major Victory. And I have Major Victory. Okay, that's right. I did the heist to get Uprising. So Major Victory, because he put a TIE fighter in Bespin, now I can get Major Victory. So that's an easy point. I like this move that Wombat did. He put a bunker down in Bespin, and I like that. It just gives him a lot of options here with space combat cards, and especially if, now think about this Force and Solist. Had he not blocked Prepare for Battle, that would be 2 Star Destroyers and 4 more TIE Fighters. So that would be really hard. With a bunker under them, versus my Moncal and my 2 Y-Wings and an X-Wing, that would be pretty hard to hold off. And I already have all of my space cards back anyway. So yeah, I think he's sort of feeling the sadness of having blocked that Prepare for Battle. Not only did it cost him potentially blocking Rogue Squadron raid, but it's going to make it a lot easier for me to hold Bespin. So we're going to open up here with the Major Victory score in Bespin and just pray that my force is going to be able to hold Bespin. I think I should bring the X-Wing. There's no planetary queued up, and I need every bit I can get. Now, I'm worried about the bunker card. I'm worried about the bunker card. And if he is playing the bunker card, then I want to block hits because I want to stall out. I don't want to do my Y-Wing card when and then roll four hits anyway. Um, I need to keep all of these fighters alive. Sorry, I misspoke. I'm not worried about the bunker card this turn. I don't think he's going to play it until he attacks in with the Star Destroyer. And so I'm worried. I'm looking ahead, worried about that. And hmm, don't think he needs Soontir here. The thing about spending leaders like this, even though Wombat is a two actions ahead, the more actions he gives me to catch up, the more likely I'm going to be able to get off something like Return of the Jedi. Because the sooner in the command phase, Vader and Palpatine have to come out. So I'm blocking hits here. Not I wasn't worried about him playing the bunker card now, so I knew I was going to be able to get enough hits. Although we'll see. Oof, dicey. Uh, and just pray that he gets nothing, and he gets two black hits. Okay, okay. So just one hit goes through. Um, and and now it's going to be a little major victory is scored. And I'm going to get a point from Show No Fear. And so the stall continues, um, getting much luckier with the level three objectives. And these little inefficiencies, the blocking, prepare for battle, the wasting an assault carrier on Mustafar, attacking too early and losing a Star Destroyer, these little inefficiencies are just giving me enough time for Show No Fear to start paying dividends. And now he's attacking in with the one Star Destroyer and that second Star Destroyer lagging behind in Malastare. Yeah, and the nice thing here is with my Moncal card, I'm going to be able to play around whatever he does with his card. Remember, no projects, no interdictors have been built. No superstar destroyers, no options for him to play his more impactful combat cards. That's why it was smart of him to put the bunker down there to give him the option. I actually think he should probably do the top, but he flips and I just flip right back. If he does the top, then he blocks um, there's nothing there's nothing I can do to stop it, to stop him from removing damage. And he gets a whew. Soontir and Yularen have been kicking my butt with the crits. Yeah, I don't really know what he should do here. If he had done remove damage, he could just put all of the damage on the Moncal. Okay, not too shabby. Not too shabby. I'm just going to reduce his dice, get rid of all the fighters, and lose the Y Wing. And now, because he can't, he has no follow up in space, because this is his one, I think he might be wondering whether or not to retreat. Maybe he should retreat. I don't know. I think he really wants to kill this Mon Cal. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he has a great choice. And then, yeah, let's go. Let's go. Okay. Good job, Akbar. Akbar has been a beast. Um, Akbar has been a beast. And now these ground forces, sure, you got loyalty and Bespin last turn to stop Lando, but they're still just stuck there. And because he has no space follow-up, now he could have a detain. He could have a detain. Um, but next turn, I'm building two more fighters. I have Lando on a rapid, intending to pull back this U-wing with one of the ground units, and I can build two more Y-wings next turn, and I still have my Y-wing card. So even if he puts down an assault carrier and a bunker and Mustafar, I'm going to be able to blow it up. And here we go for the rescue. Again, this is now the third time Cassian has attempted a rescue. Um, Maybe I can get Wedge back now. And I do. The double sabers again. Very lucky. We'll see if I can put Wedge to use now. And now Wedge is available for my space combat. So I can bring him in with 1 in a million to really make sure that I keep hammering space. He builds an interdictor. Um, Yeah, I think he needed to put 2 liters on it. If he puts 2 liters on it, he has a couple more options. Infiltrated Mustafar, raid Imperial factory. Very happy to see it. I have a behind enemy lines in hand. I have lead the strike team in hand. Um, Mon Cal and Utapau are both very weak systems where I can score easily. So then we're going to be up to turn 8. At the end of the turn, I'm going to be able to score 11, and he is going to be still 2 moves away. This space fleet has just stalled out the game so long. Very, very frustrating for the Empire. Even with the good probes, even with the carbon and the lure, um, or not good probes, but good narrowing down the base with Yularen. And here, I think this game, you really see the power of Ozzel because if I have to play around Ozzel, I have to play so much less aggressively than I've been doing. I have to be so much more careful, and it allows him to not have to attack into my forces. He can just, when I'm in Bespin, he can just move to Mustafar. When I'm in Mustafar, he can just move to Bespin. He doesn't have to try and take out my space because Ozzel knows he's going to get the first action of the next command phase or the next round. And and so you can see this game is a great example of just how powerful Ozzel is as an action card for the Empire that catch them by surprise. Ruled by fear, not going to block that. Not worried about him taking off that subject sabotage marker. I'm much more worried about blocking whatever Palpatine is doing because Palpatine because I have Uprising. And so if he wants to use Tarkin, now if he did Tarkin in Mon Cal, if he did Tarkin in Utapau, then I have a tougher choice because I don't want to lose loyalty. I've got Uprising in my back pocket. And he has the display. The one mission that could stop me from doing Lando there. and blocked. Okay, nice. Very glad that I kept Leia back to block. And then we'll see what Finest is up to. I think what Finest can do is maybe move to Utapau if he's worried about lead the strike team. If he's worried about lead the not lead the strike team, if he's worried about raid Imperial Factory, he could empty Geo. Empty Geo, take it all to Utapau, make it much tougher for me to score. And but because I was doing a rapid, he wanted to cover Yavin. But I am just retreating units to the base. I'm not moving. The the stalling has gone so well in the Bespin area. And here's the regional aid. Probably a little too late to be that impactful, but happy to have it as a backup in case things really go awry. And again, I'm getting two more fighters. Because I was able to get now Hutta, those fighters getting the two extra Y Wings, the U Wing now in the base, and getting two more Y Wings here have really allowed me to beef up my space enough to support this Moncal. So here the plan is drop a bunch of fighters in Nalhutta and plan to rapid them back. One thing that regional aid also affords me is a chance to make sure that I can get loyalty back in Bespin. And if I can get it subjugated or a rebel loyal, then then Lando can stall out even longer if I need to, especially with Leia on subversion. I feel confident that that's going to be able to happen. Uh, as of now, the plan is to behind enemy lines in Utapau. I can. He has a damage card, so I would have to bring back the transport. The transport is probably the space unit that I'll miss the least if things do go sideways. And so he is. He's threatening detain. Now, the way to get around detain is to retreat into the base, or you can't retreat into the base, but to activate into the base. And so you would have to have planetary, which I would hopefully block with subversion, but it's a draw them out. So I'm not too worried about planetary, maybe a capture, but Wedge is going to be free from the detain. And now before he can cover Utapau, I just need to get these two units out there, and Wombat sees the writing on the wall that this is going to be a score, and along with Show No Fear, he has no hope. That is the raid Imperial Factory. That is the point. And yeah, for me, this game was all about um, what do you do? How do you stall out the game? Use your resources, your units to pick off the Imperial player piecemeal, and really keep your head in the game. So yeah, that's the game. As Wombat said, a testament to Rebel resiliency and really, really stressful, close one. And glad that we managed to catch it for you. But GG's, and I'll see you guys in the next one.